We see that about 83% of Australians are active on social media. And when I'm talking social media, the most popular ones are Instagram and Facebook. But yesterday, I did actually meet one of the 17% who is not active in social media, because I met him and he asked me what was I going to be talking about today, and I started to talk about it, and I could see that I got a little bit of a blank look in his face. So for those of you that fit within the 17%, most of my presentation is going to be on social media and the use of social media in terms of communicating with the community. Now, on social influences, there's a research done by Nielsen, a larger research company, and they have said that 71% of people are more likely to believe what an influencer says about a brand, a product or a service than what an advertiser says about their product. In fact, only 33% of people are going to believe what an advertiser is saying. So they're going to be much more reliant on what others say about the products. Now, I'm talking about social media, and we've heard it many times over the conference over the last few days that we need to get better about telling our stories, because if we don't tell it, others, such as this group called Cowspiracy, and many, many others, activists, etc., like to be putting on social media, comments and imagery and things that are myths, are not correct, and paint a pretty bad image and perceptions amongst our community. And if we have a look at, we did some research prior to launching our program, and we had a look at what are the imagery that comes up when you search on social media, those that have a very healthy lifestyle, those that are concerned about sustainability, those that are what we call lifestyle explorers. And we get those images that come up and concerned about health and wellness and fitness. They're the images that come up on the left. And then we thought, well, we'll do a bit more research and we'll find out what are the images that come up when we talk about red meat eaters. And you can see these are the images that come up on the right-hand side. And I know many of us in the room, we're red meat eaters, and we think, yeah, what's wrong with that? That's all pretty good. But to those that are looking for that health and wellness and concerned about sustainability and things, they're probably not the right sort of images that they like to aspire to be like. Now, we do quite a lot of research within MLA. Yes, there's a lot of research in the feedlot sector that helps you guys better improve the product that you do, but we also do a lot of research with regards to marketing and communication, and to better help us understand the community and the consumers and their perceptions towards our industry. So in this research, we've actually been doing this for about 13 years now. So we've got quite a lot of data and quite a lot of trend data on what consumers are thinking about our industry and what they are doing with their red meat consumption. Now here, this graph is sort of showing that of all of those that we survey, and we do about 1,500 each year, about 15% of people are saying that they are increasing their consumption of red meat. Majority are not changed, but we've got about 29% of people who are saying that they are reducing their red meat consumption. Now that aligns with what Annalene was also talking about, those that are calling themselves the flexitarians and those that are looking to reduce some of their red meat consumption. But that 29%, that's been pretty consistent. It sort of fluctuates anywhere 26, 27, sometimes 30, but it's been fairly consistent over the past 13 years that we've been doing this research. But more important than just those statistics, we're really trying to find out what is it that's driving people to want to increase their red meat consumption, and we want to learn from that. But from my program area, where we're looking at improving perceptions, we're looking at, well, why are those people reducing their red meat consumption? Now, I've got to pull out my little back pocket, but I'm hoping that all of you were here yesterday and we heard Anna Spear, and she was talking about what are the 5 big consumer megatrends. Now, if we have a look at the reasons why people are increasing their consumption and why people are decreasing their consumption, you'll see some alignment in this. So Anna talked about one of the key trends is health and wellness. Yep, health and wellness, nutrition, it's one of the main reasons why people are increasing their consumption, but it's also, for those that are concerned about the impact of red meat on their health, it's also a reason for decreasing their red meat consumption. Sustainability, the second one that Anna mentioned, that comes into one of the reasons why people are reducing their red meat consumption. It's the second top reason why people are reducing their red meat consumption. Anna talked about provenance and authenticity. Here it's about wanting to know about that paddock to plate story. They want to know more about the industry. They want to know more about their product and where it comes from, the traceability, etc. She also mentioned affordability. Here, no, it's not surprising given the price of red meat and almost everything, right? You know, inflation's just going crazy. But affordability or the expense of red meat is also another reason why people are reducing their red meat consumption at the moment. Now, that's not something that we can do anything really about, but what we are trying to do through MLA and through marketing, and I'm sure many of you as well, are trying to help the community have a better understanding how to use a wider range of cuts and some of the more affordable cuts in their everyday lives. And another one that Anna mentioned is convenience and snacking. And I suppose here, convenience, easy to cook is probably one of those. But I saw a lot of alignment in what Anna and her research and what they're saying. They're seeing as the key consumer mega trends and what we see in our programs and our research within MLA. Now, the research goes on and we look at the perceptions of the industry. I won't read through all of these, but you can see that these, where it comes from contribution to society or feeling good about the production of red meat, farmed and raised in a humane manner, ethical, trustworthy, and care about the environment. These are those percentages of consumers who are positive towards those attributes. So they're going saying, yeah, I agree with that. Yes, you know, I think I feel pretty good about the production of the red meat industry. But we also ask people, well, how much knowledge do you think you have about the industry? And it's their own self-perception of knowledge. So we're seeing about 29%, or we sort of say, you know, almost 1 in 3 people say that they have some knowledge of the industry. But what's really exciting is that about half of the people that were surveyed are saying they want to learn more about the industry. They want to see it taught in schools for their kids, etc. So that's a really positive thing. And why is that important? And it's because those same attributes that I showed you earlier, when we have a look at that subset, that group of people who said that they have knowledge of the industry, you can see that their perceptions towards the industry are significantly higher. And now I'll just point out the one about, I feel good about the production of beef in Australia. That's gone from 60% up to 81%. So a huge increase in the number of people that are feeling good about the industry if they have the knowledge or their perception of knowledge. And when we have a look, remember that graph I showed you, the 15 and 29% changes? Amongst those that have knowledge, we see those that are reducing their red meat consumption drop significantly, and those that are happy to be looking to increase their red meat consumption increases. So you're probably getting where I'm going here. But we also asked about trust. And those that have a higher level of trust on the right-hand side have higher levels of or frequency of consumption. And then when I look at the lower levels of trust on the left-hand side, lower levels of trust, I'm going to consume red meat less frequently. So the research showed us that if we can increase knowledge, there's a strong link to how they're going to feel about the industry. The better they feel about the industry, the more trust they have in the industry, and how that links into improved consumption, or for my area that I'm working about, a reduction in those numbers of people that are reducing their red meat consumption. So the challenge for us, not just us as I talk about MLA, but I mean all of us in the industry, and we've heard it many times through this conference, that we've got to do more to tell our story. We've just got to get out there and get more people to hear what we do, and so they have a better understanding about our industry. So that is the challenge, about how do we reach those red meat producers to build that knowledge to improve their perceptions. So we first of all then, I suppose we then went on to have a look at, well, what are those red meat producers and who influences them? Where do they get their knowledge from? And we found that there are roughly 3 archetypes of people as to how they are looking for information. We found there's the independent researcher. Now this person really knows their stuff. They are looking to listen to you guys, the experts in the industry. They're Googling and they're looking up Annaline and listening to her. They're doing their research. They are really wanting to listen to the experts. We've got the lifestyle explorers who are much more, looking out there, interested in sustainability, looking at their different diet requirements, or not diet requirements, their different diets and what they consume. And they're heavily influenced by what maybe the people around them and the people that they follow on social media are going to say. And then you've also got the health conscious, and they may have been to a doctor or their fitness coach or somebody who's told them that they need to do something about their diet, and they're considering, should I be reducing my red meat or not? And they're also likely to be listening to those around us. So for our social influencer program and our social media program and our websites and things, we are mostly targeting what I call these lifestyle explorers and the health conscious. So they're younger, they have concerns about the environment, animal welfare, active on social media, and they want information that's pretty simple in bite-sized chunks. So we first of all got out there and sort of, well, let's get our facts together. So I hope you all in your BeefEx satchel, you've got your latest red meat green facts. It fits in your pocket. We want you to carry that around and be experts as well, and helping people understand more about the industry. We've got a great website. We're active on Facebook and Instagram in particular. We've created a whole raft of infographics and videos. And since May last year, we dived in and we thought, right, let's try and see how we can work with social influencers. We've got all the information together. And since May, we've worked with about 37 different influencers. Now, these people have a combined following of about 8 million people here in Australia. Now, the role that these influencers play, they bring credibility amongst their audience to be talking about the topic and red meat industry. They bring the reach. They are getting through to the people that we are trying to reach and communicate. They bring authentic content. They create their own content with support and input from us as to what some of the key messaging will be, and they're obviously promoting. They build the knowledge, what we're trying to get out of it. They're helping us build that knowledge, increasing the positive messaging, increasing the credible voices, and ultimately we're trying to help them in their audience that they communicate with to feel okay, not feel guilty about eating red meat. So some of the examples of these influencer posts, we have a bit of an internal joke that it's all about the biceps and the boobies and the butts. It's a bit of a joke, but you will see that quite a few of these influencers will be posting content that what we call stops the scroll. So rather than people scrolling through their social media feed, they see this and they'll go, wow, that's Harrison Reed, Bondi Rescue. Wow, what's he talking about? He's posted this on World Ocean Day, and he's saying, I'm so lucky to live in Australia, lovely oceans, lovely and clean, and I'm becoming conscious about what I eat these days. And I was really pleased to know that the red meat industry is going to be carbon neutral by 2030. Boom. He's delivered the message. People have stopped, they've read it, they've liked it, they've loved it. And a similar thing with Georgia Productions over there. And we're also working with some others that are what they call themselves health coaches, and putting out facts and busting myths about the red meat industry. So the results of our social media activities, as you can see, we reach a lot of people through working with the influencers. We've done a range of different sustainability videos, and we've also worked with Lad Bible. I'm expecting no one sort of under that mid-30s probably has heard of Lad Bible, but they are the largest social media publisher here in Australia. They claim to reach about 73% of the 18 to 35s in Australia. So I'm assuming if you're in that category here in Australia, you probably know about. So they are huge. And we did some really great work with them. Now, I would like to introduce you to one of our newest recruits. Now, this is Kimberly Bastide. I've got Kimberly here. Come up on the stage, Kimberly.
Hello.
So
a real live one.
Yeah,
real live ambassador.
Live one. And now Kimberly has done the Red Meat Ambassadors course with MLA. And so that's why we wanted you to join us to be an influence. But first of all, Kimberly, we can see that you're very comfortable on the beach. You're, whether it's with a designer clothes or you're a mum, so you've also got your own farm.
Not my favourite child, by the way, in the middle. He's the least favourite today, let me tell you. We've got 3 of those. Hi, everyone. My name is Kimberly, as Sam said.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Kimberly.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled to be here for many reasons. A little bit of background. I've been in media for about 15 or so years here in Queensland. It started with our travel shows that we have. So back then we had Queensland Weekender, Creek to Coast and the Great South East. I was fortunate to join those shows as a presenter post a pageant that I entered back in 2007, which was quite an amazing experience in itself. And it was funny because I'm a Gladstone girl, so I'm a country girl, and come from a very typically country family, not from properties, not from cattle, but, daughter of 2 upholsterers. So when I'd said to Mum and Dad that I was going to enter this pageant, they kind of pulled me aside and went, oh, come on, love, you did the Harbour Festival Queen Quest last week and you came 3rd, but good luck to you, go over there and have a go. And it was just the most amazing experience. I was fortunate enough to win that, rang home, 3 a.m. Dad said, how did you go? I said, I won. He said, bullshit. That's all he said to me for about 4 or 5 days after, but he told all his mates, may I add, that he'd produced, a pageant queen. Anyway, long story short, that was kind of the perfect platform for me to explore my passion in media. And then I'd been with Seven for probably 7 or 8 years, married, my husband, ex-cricketer, we were both getting a bit itchy. He'd just retired, so we decided to move over to London. It was in London, post my husband studying a Masters in Finance, that he got a job for a private family office that were really interested in investing in the Australian ag sector. And he fell in love with the idea of producing cattle from his office in Westminster. So when we moved home, and I had a belly out here at 7 months pregnant, he came home one day, he said, I'm done, I want us to farm. I want us to produce cattle. Can we do it? And I'm like, sure, no worries. Worst case, we can move home to Gladstone with Mum and Dad, Anyway, it took 18 months for us to raise the capital to be able to go and do it ourselves. And that's been our journey for the last 6 years. We went from having a belly full of arms and legs and a couple of pitch documents to now having, 3 kids with 2 legs and 1,200 kids with 4 legs and a naughty Shetland and a stock horse that thinks he's a giraffe.
So you went from Miss Australia to being mum to being,
cattle producer,
Cattle producer, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
And now, MLA Red Meat Ambassador and social influencer.
So excited about,
So why are you interested in being an ambassador for the red meat industry?
I think, I am so passionate about the industry, Sam, and it took us actually being, knee deep in it to really appreciate and understand and educate ourselves on what it takes to get meat on the table. I think when you're living in the city, it's all too easy to know that you can just nip 2 minutes down the road, day or night, and know that you're going to have a shelf full of food and red meat at your disposal, pretty much any kind of cut that you want. And I remember having conversations with my mum friends in the city and understanding that there's no real connection between what they're eating and them understanding how it got there. Yeah. And there are these conversations happening in inner city schools where kids are getting out in year 5 and talking about how animals are being murdered and all this stuff. And it's making me angry because there's such a lack of containment around that information that's being fed to children at a young age. So I rang Lindsay and I was at MLA. I was like, I need the language. Give me the facts. I need the information to be able to come back calmly and clearly and help people understand that this is where our food comes from, this is why it's so important, and this is why this industry, which is one of the backbones of our country, deserves the respect and the accolades that it should be getting.
Yeah, that's great. And we went to a feedlot. You hadn't been to a feedlot before. So when we started talking, we said, you know, we've got BeefEx coming up. And then she said, oh, Sam, I haven't been to a feedlot though. And I'm like, well, you know. So we got in contact with Barb Madden and she invited us out to Sapphire the other day. And we had a great visit. But we talked about some of the perceptions that you've heard from your mum friends and yourself. But, you know, what surprised you about the feedlot visit?
So much of it, Sam, honestly, because I have had all of these really off-the-cuff conversations with people, even in the last 4 weeks, that have been so anti-feedlots. And I, again, didn't have the right language to be able to talk to them about the role that it plays. I think the biggest surprise for me was understanding the role that these feedlot plays. It was understanding the science that goes behind the biome. And I met Don, who speaks more cattle than he speaks English, which has been really wonderful for me to try and cipher. And then it was, you know, being in the car with James. It was meeting Roscoe, who's out there cleaning, 72 troughs a day? Is that what he's doing by hand? Not quite. That's what he told me. You better talk to me about that. You know, it was getting on horseback with Gus, who's going, I've got the best job in the world. It was the love and the passion of the people at the feedlots. And again, to what Annalene said, understanding that it's of everybody's best interest to keep the cows as happy as they can be. They've got shade, they've got food, they've got their mates, they've got clean water. They're kind of living the dream. And I think Don said it too. It's like hanging out with your mates at the pub all day. Like, what more do you want? So I was so thankful to meet the family behind Sapphire and to just get a little bit of a snapshot of the role that these feedlots play within our industry, so that when I'm talking to my neighbour who's going, I'm never buying grain-fed beef, and I can say, hey, let's have a discussion about what's really happening.
That's great. And in preparation for you being our new social influencer, you've been creating a little bit of video that we took the other day, just from the iPhone, and you're in the process of creating that and editing, but we've got a draft here that we'd just like to show everyone. If the AV guys could just get that ready, up and going. We're really looking forward to seeing that post. And if I could just ask everyone, if you wish to look up on Instagram something, search for Kimberly Bustee. That little video will be polished up and it'll be probably coming out in the next day or so. And then also please look up Australian Good Meat and follow it there, and you can follow what we are doing with our social influencers. But thank you very much, Kimberly, for joining us, and thank you very much for everyone at BeefEx.